Hey there, this is Dr. Ramey, and this is going to be a tutorial on calculating the number of cells. So let's take a look at an example here. Let's say that you inoculate a TSB broth with 1,000,000 E. coli cells and incubate it at 37 degrees Celsius. If you assume maximum growth rate for E. coli, how many bacterial cells are in the culture after 3 hours? To figure that out, you need to know the formula, right? And you need to know what each component of this formula represents. For example, N naught, so that number right there, N naught represents the number of cells, and we'll say that we could say number of CFUs, colony forming units, aka cells, that you start with. So at time 0, at t equals 0. The N is the number of generations. Come back to that in just a minute. And then, of course, what you're looking for is N sub N, which is the number of cells, or CFUs, after N generations. So some of this information is given to you up here. For example, the number of cells that you start with. Well, right here it tells that you start with 1,000,000 E. coli cells. So that's 10 to the 6. The number of generations. Well, that's not given to you, but it does ask you how many cells there are after 3 hours, right? We assume maximum growth rate. Well, maximum growth rate of E. coli has a doubling time of 20 minutes, right, at the maximum growth rate. So I would expect you to know that E. coli has a maximum growth rate of 20 minutes, so a doubling time of 20 minutes. So what we would have to do here is then figure out how many generations based on those 3 hours. So we would multiply 3 hours times 60 minutes per hour, and then E. coli doubles every 20 minutes, so we would divide that by 20 to give us 9 generations. All right, so 9 generations, so N equals 9. And now we can calculate N sub N, which is what we're looking for, right? How many bacterial cells are in the culture after 3 hours? So let's just plug in our numbers and do the math. So N naught is 10 to the 6th, and then 2 to 9 generations, so 2 to the 9th. Okay, so that would be 10 to the 6th. 2 to the 9th is 512. We would want to write this in proper scientific notation, of course. So 512 times 10 to the 6th, but proper scientific notation means that we need that we would want the decimal to be right here. So we would need to move the decimal 2 places to the left in order to have the answer in proper scientific notation. So that would be 5.12 times 10. Now we move the decimal 2 places to the left, so we would need to add 2 to our exponent of 6, so that would make it an exponent of 8. So 5.12 times 10 to the 8th, and of course don't forget our units. You would need to write either cells or CFUs, and this is the final answer.